Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm gonna be explaining to you guys how to exactly defeat this final Black Widow boss. Now keep in mind, unfortunately my gameplay footage is going to be whilst the VFX bug is active and we are not actually going to be able to see her traps, so we're gonna have to use our imagination. But that's kaboom for you. I may or may not redo this guide once it's actually fixed, but from the initial point, this fight does seem quite a complicated one, right? There's tons of abilities, so much reading, and most of it is kind of useless, to be honest. You don't really need to know or read all of this, and I'm gonna explain to you in the basic, most simple ways possible. And I'm gonna do that with a quick text write-up in case you do want to take a snapshot. So basically you fight her by pushing her into her own traps, and that is pretty much the only way you can do meaningful damage in majority of the fight. So you need to bait out special attacks, and then you need to push or knock her down into her own traps. Effectively you do need to knock her down into her own traps starting phase 2. In phase 1 you can just push her into them as well. And then in order for her to actually arm these traps, you need to bait out whatever special attack number you see under her name. So she's going to start with special attack 1 in phase 1, then going to go special attack 2 in phase 2, special attack 1 in phase 3, and special attack 2 in phase 4. Medium combo enders will trigger an evade. In the last phase, also heavy attacks will trigger the same evade. And that evade is actually a useful tool for player to use, because you can use it to either enable her to gain more power, or also gain more power for yourself, and it can be quite helpful. And it's kind of similar with that Kang mechanic from 7.4. And also for final phase, prowess effects are quite important. Now typically there is a way how to gain prowess yourself in the fight, but that's just much slower. So if you want to have easier time in the final phase, ideally you want a champion that has access to their own prowess effects like APOC or Kitty or something like that. But we're gonna get there. And that's pretty much it. You don't need to know much more about the fight aside, I guess, from the animation. So all of this long text can kind of be explained. So 1 second, we're gonna move on the actual fight. Here we go. And let's take a look at that. So I'm going to be using Colossus. This is going to be the same video footage from my solo that I uploaded earlier. I'm just going to be pausing it and explaining what is happening in it. This first bit is not overly important at all. I just took some screenshots there. So we're going to start with phase 1. So you can see that she has that number 1 under her name. So I want to bait out special ones from her and then wait till the trap activates. The trap always activates after X amount of time. This time is increasing in each phase, so it is kind of getting more trickier. Initially it's very quick and it's very easy to push her into these traps. Later on it kind of gets a bit trickier. So you can parry stun her for vast majority of the fight as well, and I will make some mistakes. This is by no means going to be perfect fight, but initially again, just don't finish with medium combo enders unless you want to trigger that evade. Bait out her level 1, and here she does level 1. At the end she throws her psych at you or something, and now the trap is active. Now the trap is invisible, but the trap would activate, 1 second, let's try and rewind this a bit. Trap would activate approximately where she throws her last special attack. So basically by that light, somewhere around there, in my head I know that there should be trap. So what I want to do, I want to wait until trap is active and then knock her into her own trap. So we're going to evade that. You see trap is set, trap is active. And now I want to use my special attack to basically push her by that light somewhere. That was the second light. And here we go. She's stuck in the trap and I gain a prowess effect and 50% combat power rate and extra damage. She will be taking that extra damage until that broken armor icon basically reforms itself. It is again happening quicker in the later phases. In the initial phase lasts for longer. So even after she's out of her trap, whilst her armor reforms, she's going to be taking more damage. And then that's basically rinse and repeat process for this phase 1. So again, evade the level 1 hit, wait till the trap is active, and then you want to push her into her own trap, and ideally do that with special attack just to be safe, especially while those traps are invisible. And now just go to town and do a ton of damage. Now for this fight, Colossus was a great option because of the path that I took. Typically Colossus does well, but not this well in this fight. And now we have gotten her to phase 2, and the base idea is still the same. I want to push her to level 2s, and then I want to push her back into her own trap. I could use that evade mechanic to let her gain more power and gain power quicker myself, but I actually want to kind of build up to level 2 with Colossus myself, just so I can have more chance to get more armor ups. Now again, when she finishes her level 2, the trap should be set somewhere there about where she is. We need to use our imagination, so that is making this fight a bit more difficult. Keeping that in mind, we want to wait till the trap is active and knock her in there with a heavy attack or a special attack in a phase 2. Special attacks are always safest because they travel larger distance. So here we go, and knock her down into her own trap, thankfully, and we can start doing decent amount of damage. As we can see here, 58k medium crit, nice. That armor is still shattered. I kind of tried to punish the heavy attack. She dropped level 1 very quickly, so that's, I guess, my mistake, but that's fine. I'm using level 2 just to recover some adrenaline healing here. I really, didn't have a great reason to use it, just to kind of, get some space and recover adrenaline healing. Did not expect to eat that level 1 there, but we have successfully pushed her to level 2 again. So now we await that first hit of the level 2, rest of it we can easily outrage. And again, we are just patiently waiting till the trap is set. And then, now that the trap has been set, what I want to do is I want to push her in that trap using a special attack, and we do that successfully. And now we have built up some more armor ups, we have some more prowesses, we're doing even more damage. I'm going for a level 2, and that level 2 did a ton of damage. Now we're back to level 1. We need to wait out that level 1. And again, push her into her own trap. Now we're being patient. You can see it is harder when you need to wait longer for that trap to activate. Now it's finally active. And what I want to do is make sure that I do have about a power. She's in her trap, and that was like 1 million crit on a level 1. Putting her into the last phase. The last phase is the trickiest because you do need to have prowess effects. Because basically, the difficult part comes from the fact that you still want to push her into her own traps, but that is not going to break her armor anymore. That means she's not going to take more damage like she has been up until now. However, whenever you land a special attack on her whilst you have prowess effects active, you reduce her damage mitigation mechanic. So basically, you really want prowess effects, otherwise you're going to take very long time in order to defeat her, because you can still gain prowess, just like Colossus did here, by pushing her, knocking her down into her own traps. But ideally, you just want to always have prowess and basically spam your special attacks at her with those prowess effects active, and don't pay as much attention to those traps in the last phase. But nonetheless, we still want to finish this fight. So here we bait out the level 2. A trap is going to be set, which is fine. Now we just need to wait till it's active. Well, to be honest, I should just probably go for level 2 here. I get crit on by accident, but that's fine. I drop my level 2, and she's at 3%. I go for another combo here. I'm going to drop my level 1. She's in her trap. That's some nice damage on that level 1 as well. Not as big as before because we can't break her armor. But nonetheless, push her to special 3. And then finish the fight with level 1. And that is it. The fight is officially over. And we can see the biggest hit was 1.2 million level 1 from Colossus. So that has been the guide pretty much. And everything that I explained at the start of the video, you saw throughout the fight. The basic idea is always bait out whatever special attack she has under her name. Then you push her into her own traps by knocking her down. Ideally, because only phase 1 you can push her in. Phase 2, 3, and 4 you need to knock her down with a heavy or a special attack. In phase 4 it has to be a special attack. Medium combos trigger that evade, which I didn't really do in this video because it's not needed, but you can use that in order to kind of speed up the fight, but you don't have to. Just keep that in mind. And that is just about it. It's most straightforward fight, and even with these bugs, if you kind of are paying quite a bit of attention, you can definitely still get a solo. And it is, in my opinion, the easier boss of all of the Act 7 bosses and Grandmaster and whatnot. So here we go. I hope this guide is fairly simple, straightforward. I hope it was helpful to you guys. And if it is, well, then do me a favor for a change and hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons. I'm going to catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about